Hey, welcome to More Than Rivals, the podcast where we bring you Rivals news every single week. This week, I'm here with the YouTuber Birdguy. Sol, why don't you go and introduce yourself? Tell us why you're here.
Right. Um, like they were saying, I'm Birdguy. I am
I hope so.
the first level 1000 Wrastor, which is becoming less and less impressive as time goes on.
Yeah, there's a
So
few of those.
I have to become the first level 2000 Wrastor now. But hell, my total level is over 2600. I have every character over level 100. I think my Absa's just a few levels away. My Wrastor is now 1400. I've played lots and lots of time on every single character.
Yeah,
And I make like live service guides and stuff, and I'll be dipping my toes into other guides soon too.
yeah, that's very sick to hear. But all your channel stuff will be linked down below, by the way, so go show them some love. But really just curious, because this week I put out a video, talking about, who's the hardest Rivals character, right? What's the
I
difficulty?
can give you an answer.
Yeah, what's the difficulty? So just generally first, who do you think is the easiest and the hardest before we really dive deep into the meat and potatoes?
So I actually built a tier list
Mhm.
that you might surprise you or not. It's pretty much almost exactly the same as what you've got in your video.
Yeah.
My tier list is mostly based off of because I know a lot of people you asked people what they were basing their difficulty off of, and I thought
Mhm.
that was a really cool idea.
Yeah.
I kind of am in that area too, where I don't think it's just the skill floor, but if I wanted to play a character versus somebody who has I would say 100 hours on a character,
Mhm.
would I be able to pick up this other character against them and do well with them? So it's kind of somewhere in the middle. Am
Yeah.
I able to get competent with this character at a reasonable pace? So I've got my tier list is based off of how quickly I can get into them, so a low skill floor, but then can I start approaching that skill ceiling? um
Mhm.
I don't know if I want to spend too much time on it, but we can start from easiest to hardest.
Yeah.
I do have them in order. The easiest character in the game is Loxodont, hands down.
For sure. Yeah.
No question.
Whenever I was
um
looking through the data points, I thought I saw that Clairen was ranked harder than Loxodont or easier than Loxodont, and I was like, that cannot be right. And I went through and I had an error in my averaging calculation. And I was like, oh, I'm glad I caught that because Lox is very, very simple for sure.
and it's not even that he is a saucy character, but you really don't need to dip into his sauce to do well with him.
Yeah, I feel
um
what's good about him is everything's kind of surface level with him, and then you can go deeper if you want, but you don't have to.
mhm. You will get so far literally just getting in your charged strong attack tech chases.
Mhm.
That's all you needed. You get that and you get magma and you're good to go. I think his back air really contributes to it too.
Yeah, having
um
that crazy reverse hitbox too, it's kind of you don't even really have to aim the move. It's you cross me up and I use back air. I gotcha, you know.
I forget what the startup is on it. It's not that high for a kill move.
No,
It's 8 or maybe 10.
I'm not
It's
too
been a
sure.
while since I've
We can
looked.
throw it up on screen right
um,
now.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got the magic of
um,
editing.
I feel like the next easiest character is the complete opposite,
Hmm.
which you don't even have to guess. It's Kragg.
Yeah,
um
yeah, that's where I had him.
Kragg is definitely the next easiest character, but then he's also really, really saucy. His sauce isn't even hard to access. It's most are you able to you can be very creative with him, and it doesn't take a lot of skill.
Mhm.
It doesn't take a lot of mechanical skill to be creative with Kragg. You just have to know what you're going for when you try to do these things with him.
Yeah, he definitely feels like a character where it's do you know your confirms, right? And they're pretty easy confirms, back air into anything, you know? Or down throw, what do you get out of down throw on this character at this weight, you know?
Mhm.
Things like that. It feels like it's very much you have all the puzzle pieces, it's just up to the player to put them together, but they're not hard to put together.
I don't know why I said he was the complete opposite of Loxodont.
Yeah, he's kind of,
It kind of the same deal.
yeah.
Uh,
I feel like those
um,
characters with those really generous big moves as well, that helps them feel
mhm.
good, you know? Because it's okay, use my move, and there's no chance of me missing you. You know, my move is the size of a platform. You know, like,
Another thing I've noticed is how much a character's weight plays into like their difficulty.
Mhm.
Kragg and Loxodont can make so many mistakes. And they'll mostly be fine. I say mostly because, like, obviously, if a Wrastor catches Loxodont or Kragg sleeping at the wheel, then they're going to take like 50% easy.
Yeah.
But they can afford to make more mistakes, even if they can afford to make mistakes, even if they're making more of them, just because their
They have longer to
disadvantage is
live,
worse.
kinda. Yeah.
Next easiest character. I might get some flack for this one. I don't remember where you have them on your tier list. Is Olympia?
Yeah, she's not too far off from the bottom. So
I have her as the next easiest character because, and this is like when, like I said, I have these more of like middle of the road, where they have a low skill floor and their skill ceiling isn't too hard to get to. Like the hardest thing on Olympia, what they call it, rat trick.
yeah, I love
Which is
rat
where you
trick.
like use the crystal to recover.
Mhm.
That's like the hardest thing that she has going for her, and those that's the sort of thing you can just practice in training mode and you'll get it sooner than later.
Yeah.
Her she can get away with mashing like really really easily.
Yeah.
She has like when you can learn to use her crystal like a Falco laser, and when you use crystal as Falco laser, and then you can homing attack to it, and then it's incredibly safe. You can choose whether or not you want to continue that pressure based on whether or not you confirmed, and if you didn't hit the homing attack or like you hit shield, you can just jump away and she'll be fine. She's there's you don't really have to commit a lot with her, and I think that's a big deal. Like she's super light, but because she's a fast faller, it like the fastest faller, it doesn't matter quite as much. Like being lightweight only super matters when you are a floaty. Like she'll still die early, but she's not gonna get corner KO'd or ceiling KO'd quite as early as Wrastor and Absa. My next easiest character, it's really a group of 3 that I keep moving around based off of like
is
how
Olympia
I feel about them in the moment. No.
No? Okay, so she's in the
I
bottom.
do think of those 4 characters, I think that she's easier than all 3 of these. Right now, the order I have them in, and I'll just talk about all 3 of them at the same time.
Sure.
Clairen, Zetterburn, and then Ranno.
Yeah.
Clairen is such a weird situation, because she is this incredibly easy character to pick up.
Yeah.
And she will do so good on her own merit without much thought on the part of the player. But then as soon as any of her buttons are challenged by somebody who knows how to fight a Clairen, that all just falls apart.
Yeah.
And there's an aspect of that I'll talk about on a little bit more later. Mostly about like when neutral actually people don't really play neutral until like plat. They don't play neutral anywhere below
you kind of just
plat.
like skip like no one's floor hugging, you know, like that kind of stuff is not happening, you know.
It's almost funny to say like literally like the bottom half of the people playing this game do not play neutral, but it's true. And if you are not playing neutral, if you're playing like a version of Rivals 2 where you're not playing neutral, Clairen just wins.
Yeah, because she kind of gets to skip a good amount of that if you're like not playing to your counterplay for her moves.
I have Zetterburn right above her. I think like he has a pretty high skill ceiling, but he's another character where you can just sort of press buttons in a direction of your opponent and they're probably going to die.
Yeah, I think that's something that the video that I put out earlier this week, right? That's something that I kind of like failed to fully give context on, right? Because the goal with those like scripted videos is like, I want to keep it simple, right? Like anybody can understand that. You can be someone who's played Rivals for an hour, you can be someone that's played it for 500 hours, and you would get the same thing out of the video. However, it's hard to like really describe how much like skill ceilings Zetterburn has, but then also like his floor is very, very simple, So it's very hard to rank him where it's like I had like a very low level Zetterburn be like, wow, you like ranked him like that high, like I don't do anything that takes a lot of like tech, and then I had someone like Wood, and he messaged me and he was like, Zetterburn's like really technical, like what do you mean? Like, cause he does all these like frame perfect baby dash, like wave shine combos, And it's like your Zetterburn is technical and this person's is like there's no technical inputs at all, So it's like how do you show that like variety? So we can get more into that with other fighters as well. But Zetterburn definitely has a big like gap where it's like he's hard at this level and very easy at other levels.
Because like one of the highest technical characters in this game is my next character on the list, Ranno. He's got a lot going on, like so much. This character is just chock full of tech, and like you don't need it. His buttons are just so good, and he gets a lot. Like Clairen and Ranno especially, they get a lot out of skill checking their opponents out. Ranno's they don't have a lot of landing lag on their aerials, so they're typical. Yeah, you're gonna do your aerial and then you're gonna land, and most people are thinking, all right, you did an aerial, you missed, and you landed. I'm now going to whiff punish you, but you can't do that because Ranno's gonna keep you. He'll land and then he'll use one of his tilts, and they'll come out really fast, and you get punished for that. And
like in Smash Ultimate, like Sonic has the same thing, right? Where he gets to click like multiple options in a row, and you just have to wait for the laggy option on your shield,
Literally.
And then it's like, okay, now's your turn, But he gets multiple turns where it's like, are you gonna unshield now, or are you gonna try to punish me now? Like, oh, you did, I gotcha, and then you take 50, So
exactly. Like a lot of playing versus Ranno is seeing, learning how far he's going to go into these before he gets into the laggy options. The things that he's doing are actually highly predictable. And you just have to learn what the opponent, the Ranno that you're fighting is, which ones he's relying on. So those three characters I consider very close, even though I think Ranno's highly, highly technical. My next character on the list, and this is still I'm in average tier, which is where I have easy as shit tier, which is where I put Kragg and Loxodont. I put Olympia is all alone on easy tier, and then in average is where I have Clairen, Zetterburn, Ranno, and my next character who is Etalus. I think I kind of have him around there with you. And this one, I wasn't so sure where to put him because, like, Etalus has this crazy good advantage state, this crazy bad disadvantage state.
Yeah.
And then his neutral is... It takes a long time to like get going. So against somebody who doesn't let him set up, he's going to have a much harder time. He's going to have a really hard time against somebody who doesn't let him set up his like neutral game plan. But then against someone who's more hesitant to try to stop him, he's just going to have the easiest time in the world.
Yeah, it's kind of weird where it's like, it feels like whenever I play Etalus, at least, if I'm in some matchups, he feels very easy and forgiving. And then in some matchups where I'm getting like skill checked, like it's like you didn't set up your ice here right, so now I can just kind of like run over you, things like that. So he's one of those characters where it's like sometimes he's like pretty easy and forgiving, and sometimes he's like so difficult to get going with. It really does depend.
And sometimes you're surviving to 200%, not like you're doing anything particular to do it, you're just doing it.
I tried to touch on in my video was like some characters get bonuses like passively, right? Like Loxodont always has huge moves, right? Like, Etalus is always living forever, Clairen's always able to land Tipper, right? Whereas, like, other characters, sometimes, like, Forsburn, Orcane, Absa, right? They have to be more active with their little bonuses. So I did factor that in, and I assume that's where we're getting to.
Yeah, with Etalus being, like, 200... Like, he can survive to 200%, but the point... Like, Etalus loves to get you off stage, but then you also want to get him off stage because his off stage recovery is very predictable. You're gathering information on when the Etalus likes... Does this Etalus like to go high? Does he like to go low? Is he a wall jumper? Is he wall jump dependent? does he like to fully charge his up special?
Yeah.
And you use this information against him because he really only has a few things he can do off stage. But if you approach him wrong, he's going to up air you and get his resources back. And
Yeah.
like he I think he gives you your resources back too when he up airs you, but he's the one who's trying to recover.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that's trying to recover, so it's like it works for him. He kind of can he skill checks people out like really hard.
Yeah.
Because he requires not I don't want to say a specific strategy, but he requires like intent. You have to know what you're doing versus an Etalus where he's just going to run you over.
I feel like he's one of the hard characters to rank because he is so different than everyone else. It's kind of like you can't really compare like Etalus to Ranno, right? They have completely different game plans, right? But I definitely do agree with that placement. I think that's right around where the like community poll put him to.
The only character I can compare him to is Clairen because like he's a character who, if he can get his skill checks off, you're not going to be able to do anything against him. But if you are overcoming Etalus and Clairen's skill checks, suddenly the game is incredibly hard for these two.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on to the next tier, though, who's your characters in that?
Yeah, so my next 4 I have in the pretty hard tier. Very next character is Forsburn. I do consider him to be difficult. Not like his skill floor is really low because his aerials are stupid. People at low level don't know how to play versus Cape Strongs.
But I feel like once you get to like mid level and you just figure out like I just have to hold down, it becomes like a lot easier. But yeah, I do agree. Like one of our best players in my region is a Forsburn. And on like new players, he'll just spam like that forward cape. And they're like, this character's stupid. And we're like, well, you just have to floor hug. All you have to do is hold down. And you can press anything after. You can grab, you can attack him, you can shield the follow-up hit and then get a bigger punish. Like you can do anything. You just have to hold.
Once you start plugging his cape, that's when you can start playing like the real game with him because he then has options to deal with people who are going to floor hug reverse. It's like a really cool mind game that floor hug haters, I don't know if they're completely disregarding it or what, but I think like the mind game that comes with that Forsburn then has to participate in is honestly just as interesting.
I want to have another podcast episode about floor hugging in general, because I enjoy it, but there are moments where I'm like, oh, this is kind of rough. But with Forsburn in particular, I really do enjoy like the floor hug mind game for sure. So that's like a highlight of floor hugging to me.
I think I ended up putting him in pretty hard specifically because he has like 2 major skill checks, which is his aerials and his cape. And once you get over those, you don't have to get very high level to start being able to deal with those. Then he has to start relying on his B button. He has to do that sooner than other characters. And his B button also isn't very hard to do. But like, I'm sure you've seen plenty of middle level Forsburns. He's probably got one of the highest like SD rates in the game.
His recovery is kind of like, it's weird because it's like I rely on like 2 different resources to recover and the up B, right? So it's like I need smoke, I need clone, and the up B, and then if your opponent denies one, your recovery route completely changes. So it's a very interesting like where things like, as we've talked about like with Zetterburn, right? It's like there are things in this kit that are easy, like Forsburn's aerials are easier to use, right? But then he definitely has like one of the more complex B buttons and like resource managements in that regard. So
honestly, I think he's like one of the coolest design characters in this game.
Yeah, I think that, and I want to have an episode talking about like rivals character designs as well. For this podcast, by the way, y'all, like I plan to go like at least like 2 or 3 months. I have like 2 or 3 months worth of topics planned out, and then after that, we'll start taking in like more topics. But I want to have an episode about character design, and I feel like Forsburn is where like characters like that, their character design really, really shines on those. So,
my favorite 3, like I think the 3 coolest characters designed in this game are Kragg, Forsburn, and then my next character in the list, who is Orcane. I think Orcane's design is absolutely incredible. There's an aspect of his kit, like my favorite part of his kit is that his aerial, like it fits his character fantasy so well, is that his aerials are so multifunctional.
Yes,
every single one of his aerials do are used in like completely different things. Like his up air is a kill move for characters above him, or
Mhm.
he can use it to like the belly flop part right
Yeah, to
afterwards.
get the spike.
Yeah, and then his his forward air, he can either use it to deny space, or he can turn around and use it for bubble
Mhm.
butt. Like his nair, which he can bounce, and then like I just think it's so cool how his aerials are allowed to cover these different uses, and because some uses are more appropriate in situations than others, it is up to the Orcane to figure those uses out and the opponent to predict them.
Yeah, I feel
Um,
like it's almost a way of like skill expression just in the kit by
yeah.
itself, and not necessarily in like it's like how are you going to use this move, right? We give you like 3 ways to use this move, and you have to pick which of the 3 ways you use in each situation. Yeah, it's very interesting.
And then the thing I don't like, so you're an Orcane player, and so maybe it comes naturally to you. I do not agree with you on like, um, uh, his execution. I think his execution is actually really hard.
To me, I was gonna say like once you kind of figure out, you can just like wave dash and just like jab, and then you can get like down tilt, up tilt, and then
Mhm.
anything off of either of those moves, right? It becomes like pretty easy. It becomes like, in my opinion, similar to Zetterburn, right? Where it's like you can be doing like almost like frame perfect like nair like hitfall stuff to like bounce people across the stage. But like in no form do you have to do that. You can do like nair back air, right? And that just kills,
Yeah.
you know. I think that's because Orcane's kill power is like a little bit overtuned. This is kind of off topic,
Yeah,
but
but you shouldn't say that.
yeah, I feel like the devs like made Orcane's kill power really crazy so he could compete with like Ranno and Zetterburn, and then
Mhm,
Ranno and Zetterburn got tuned down, and Orcane's kill power didn't come down. So now it's
mhm.
like, whoa, this dude's killing me at 80. Like, what's going on? So I feel like that should
And
definitely be scaled down just a little bit. Like all of his buttons feel fine. It's just like that kills a little bit early. But I
he's
mean,
kind of
I'll
a
take it
pseudo
for now.
heavy too.
Yes, yeah, he's pretty heavy. Like
Um,
it's not
the
like
reason I
super apparent, but yeah, he is.
put him so high is like he's in that similar situation as Forsburn, where like once you start figuring out his skill checks, which don't take that much effort, it's not that hard to figure out Orcane skill checks.
Yeah, it's
You
like
have
oh,
to
you
start
pretty
using your
levels.
you have to start using his tech, his like higher tech, like much sooner than later on this character. You have to be doing um, turnaround, recovery, bubble butts. You have to hydroplane to close out games. Um, there was one more thing he does that I was thinking of that was like kind of difficult. Hydroplaning,
Orca hopping?
reverse bubble butts. Yeah, orca hopping is something you need to do, and like yeah, these aren't difficult per
No, they're
se,
not.
but like I think these are something that let's say like um someone can put in, let's say somebody put in like 20 hours into Orcane, which is a lot of time for a new player.
Mhm.
They're really enjoying the character, but they had never heard of hydroplaning and orca
Yeah,
hopping, and reverse bubble butt recovery. Um, and then they find out, oh, you actually need to learn. You need to learn these things.
yeah.
Um,
I will
I
say
feel like
if the game tutorial, I think that'd be a lot, a lot easier. You know, because it's like, oh,
Orcane is one of those characters
no.
that Orcane is one of those characters that really he needs this tech to function.
Yeah,
Um, at like any level higher than like if you are like an Orcane that is stuck in gold, you have got to master hydroplaning, orca hop, and reverse bubble butt recoveries
one
because you're
tip.
going to become too predictable.
Yeah,
Um, like hydroplaning is so strong, and it
yeah.
is closing out these games you would otherwise be winning. Orca hop, you need to be able to do that to be less predictable because,
Mhm.
like, I am always like it's every time I am fighting against an Orcane that is recovering, I am always thinking of that puddle. Um, like maybe at lower levels, people kind of forget about the puddle, but I'm always thinking about it.
Yeah,
As soon as I realize, if I realize that you're stalling and you're like a little bit on the low side, my ass is already running over to the puddle because I know what you're doing. Um,
hmm
while I don't think his tech is necessarily that hard, I have him so much higher because you need that tech.
yeah. You really do have to understand like the totality of his kit, right? He's not someone like Kragg or Loxodont where it's like, I'm gonna like look away from this part of the kit, like I'm not gonna touch it, right? And I'll succeed at like mid-level. It's like with Orcane, it's like you need all that. One tip, by the way, I actually was told this like recently, like, oh, you should mention this to people, is if you set your grab or your parry button, right, you can set them to Nair and neutral special in the air. And what that can let you do is you can free up one hand while you use a trigger to use your Nair or your neutral special, and that way you can get perfect B reverses and never mess those up. So you can do like bubble butt back to stage, or you can do like perfect hitfall Nairs. So that's like
Orcane, it's technically better to switch them around, right?
I just have both, where it's like my grab is Nair, and then my parry button is neutral special.
My next character is Maypul. This is still in the pretty hard tier. I have her Maypul, who honestly I think is the number 1 character right now.
Yes, yeah.
It literally might be number 1 Maypul and then number 2 Orcane, but we can't talk about that. This is just about difficulty. So Maypul, she's such a weird, different character, and if she's a case where like if you use her kit wrong, it works against her like really bad.
Yeah.
If you're like dropping down lilies because you think, oh, I can put Lily here and then I can walk away from Lily and Lily's going to cover that space for me. Lily doesn't cover space on her own.
No.
If you abandon a Lily, I go over there and I get free iframes.
Yeah, and now I'm running at you and I'm invincible, and you just gotta run away, you know? That's your only option.
Like,
then.
she's good at doing that, but she still shouldn't be doing it like 6 times a game.
Yeah, no,
which
for
is
sure.
what happens so often. Her tether can be used against her really bad. Like, you'll have your typical things of a Maypul that tries to tether to you before, and then you are actionable already, and then you hit her out of the air. Because you have advantage on a tethering Maypul. And she needs to, these are parts of her kit she needs to use, which makes it part of like, her technical aspects are required to do good on her.
Yeah.
And if you aren't using them right, you just die.
Mm-hmm.
Like her, and she's a situation too where like, her neutral is fantastic, but also we're not playing neutral until we hit plat.
Yeah. I will say, I feel like some of her combo starters are like kind of complex, where it's like you'll land them and then they don't have like a super clear like follow up at those like really low percents. Things like neutral air, and even like some of her throws, it's kind of like you need to like be tech chasing with her. So I feel like that adds like complexity to her at like the lower end of the game as well. Where it's like once you figure out like, okay, I can do this out of Nair, right? Or like Nair like knocks them down, and so now I'm tech chasing, right? Once you do get that down, she doesn't become like too tricky. But like at those low percents, right? She is like a little bit different, you know?
And thankfully, I think she's one of those characters, unlike Orcane, where I feel like you do have to go out and be told things about Orcane that aren't immediately obvious. I do feel like Maypul is a character that you can learn just by grinding her out.
Yeah.
Like these things will eventually come to you. I think like a lot of people sleep on how good her reverse side special is. Honestly, an incredible move. But like it goes to show, and like literally her up air being required to recover, I feel like filters out a lot of people too.
Yeah, she's got a weird recovery for sure.
But I feel like anyone can pick up Maypul, but it's just because she requires grinding.
Yeah.
I have to put her up so high, and that her tech is required.
I also think like she's kind of a character where it's like her advantage state, it's very obvious what you want to be doing, because like things like up air like combo into itself, forward air combos into itself, right? But then there are like parts of her kit where it's like, I don't know what's going on here, you know? So she's kind of like a weird character where I think she's a good example of like a kit like easing you into the more complex ideas, where it's like, I get these basic ideas right, and now I have to experiment and like figure out like how they connect to the rest of her kit. So yeah, she's definitely kind of like a self-explanatory character, but it just takes time. Who's next though?
My last pretty hard character is Fleet.
Okay.
I think you had her ranked up pretty high too, though.
Yeah, I did.
I think it's because she's very, I don't want to say she's incredibly esoteric, but she's a little bit obtuse. It's not entirely obvious at first what you should be doing with her. like, you know, a lot of people think, oh, I'm just going to throw my side special forward, and that's going to create a lot of space for me. But you th- if Fleet throws her side special for like straight forward twice in a game, like
Immediate parry.
okay, I don't want to say my level because it makes me sound like I'm really high level. I'm not that high level. I'm just diamond, which
I
is
feel like
still
diamond
like
is like above average. Like gold and plat, whenever I
yeah.
do like the, like
Diamond
character
is
builds,
Diamond
it's
is
like
top
mostly.
8% of just ranked players.
Hmm.
So like it's pretty high, which gives me like I feel like I have enough authority to say these things.
Yeah, yeah.
But like at that level, if a fleet throws side special straight forward twice, it's gonna get parried. She's gonna get caught out for it. It's like she can do it maybe once. She's a set play character first and foremost. She's not a zoner. She does have some
Yeah.
great zoning aspects. Like her tech chase forward strong is really good.
Mhm.
She can cover like the entire stage if she knows. If she knows that you're going for a tech roll, then she can cover that entire space with her forward strong and continue her advantage state. But mostly she's playing like a mid range. She's throwing her side special in ways that you can't parry it, so she's either throwing it, she's like short hopping and throwing it just high enough where you can't parry it, or she's throwing it at an upwards angle to cover your jump ins. And her I don't want to call it a float. It's not a float. Her slow fall.
Yeah, yeah. It's a
is
little
like,
different.
You need to be using her slow fall.
Mhm.
Like you need to be using it in neutral to like her best approaches obviously are like going in with forward air or neutral airs.
Mhm.
She can use her slow fall to I don't want to say camp out, like
Mhm.
cover someone who's recovering from the blast zone. And then it's also essential for like her combo game. A
I
really
think the
good fleet.
problem there is like you have to slow fall and hit fall, which can be like a lot of inputs, especially if you are at
Mhm,
that lower level where it's like
mhm,
you're mixing together like two different like movement techs plus like
mhm.
aiming your moves, and each of her moves has like the sweet spot, which is what you want to land, and like the sour spot, which will not continue your combo. So you have to like be mindful of your spacing, float mechanic, and also hit fall, which can be yeah a lot.
I got a lot of flack for this, which like I literally think she has. Um, there's only like one other character that you could say has better aerials than her.
Hmm.
I don't even think that necessarily Forsburn has any better aerials than hers. Hers are really good, lots of coverage, high kill power.
His backer is
Um,
kind of crazy, but yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
get
his
what you mean.
backer is good,
Yeah.
but like overall, like all of her
Oh yeah,
aerials are
yeah.
so good.
Hmm.
Um, and then yeah, she's a character where like you really do need to be using her tech to
Hmm.
even like perform at all with her.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
that's why I have her so high. Um, Now we're in the hardest shit tier,
Yeah,
which is just two characters.
I can guess who it
Literally
is.
all the air characters. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Absa. I almost for like when I first picked her up, I was like, "Wow, she's so hard! What the hell's going on here?"
Mhm.
I almost would have put her above Wrastor, but as I started to play her more, I realized, "Oh my god, it's just Cloud! It's just Cloud!"
Yeah, yeah. Like Absa
Um,
herself is like not that crazy outside of her like jump cancel stuff. But
yeah.
even then, it's like it's pretty generous in this game. You're
Mhm,
not doing anything like frame tied except for gravity jump,
mhm.
which is like even then, like it's like if you're just picking up Absa for funsies, it's like you don't need to learn that. You know,
You
you
don't
will
need to
be
learn
fine
gravity
enough.
jump.
Yeah,
You honestly don't even really need to learn double jump cancel.
I feel like it's
That
pretty
might be
important
like weird to say.
aiming
Yeah,
moves like ground points, but yeah,
I knew
besides that,
someone was gonna. Uh, Hell, I knew someone was gonna say that, but like, I really don't think it's that necessary. Like, okay, it's good. Her aerials are stupid good, and that's how she's getting like her early kills at like 60-70%.
Mhm.
Um, but like you will have to eventually learn double jump cancel. But if you're just starting off with her, you could do fine
Oh
without it.
yeah, yeah. Like you
Eventually,
don't
you'll
have to
have
know
to.
that. It like I like the like lower ranks like is it like called stone, silver, and like bronze, like those three
You
ranks.
don't even need double jump
Yeah,
cancel till
you don't
flat.
need that. Yeah. So
You're gonna win. You're winning your Absa games with 4 tilt
yeah,
until flat.
it's like you don't know what a parry is. I'm gonna get you for it.
Yeah, you're winning with her lightning bolt. What
Yeah.
do they call it? Is it like lightning
Lightning
line or
line.
something?
Yeah.
You're winning with lightning line. If you're winning with lightning line, you are not going against opponents that are actually challenging your Absa yet.
No,
Because you
definitely
should not be lightning lining like more than twice, 3 times a game.
If even, yeah. It's more of like a punish tool than it is like a neutral tool. But if it is working for you in neutral, keep it up. I hope you get out of silver soon. Keep listening to the podcast. You'll make it. Like, we're gonna get you out of there.
I had to like really argue about like one time I was in the roller cord saying like lightning line is not that good, and people were like, "Are you crazy? It gets me kills all the time so early."
It does kill.
Like, you will never land this on me.
Yeah, I think the problem with lightning line is it's almost like one of those moves where it's like, if you know to look out for it, right? If you just watch Absa, it's like you will never be hit by it in neutral. Like the cloud might be sticky to you, and then they might lightning line after your air dodge. Like if you panic air dodge, like it's good there. Or like if they throw cloud like in your line of recovery and then they lightning line and call you out, that's good. But like
there are good creative ways to use it. But if you're playing on stage and an Absa throws her cloud past you, I know what you're doing. Yeah, and it's not gonna work. I am a fan of both versions of Absa's down special, but it's kind of skill checky.
Yeah, for sure. It's like you shouldn't be getting hit by it if you know what's going on, but sometimes you don't know what's going on. So
I'll have some opponents where like they do start to respect it, but they respect it too much.
And then you get more off that, yeah.
Yeah, the fact that they're respecting it too much without acting on the fact that I can't throw when I'm using down special, I can't throw a cloud at you. And like a cloud that me being able to throw a cloud at you or a cloud that's already on the stage is way more threatening than a cloud that you know exactly what it's going to be doing in 30 frames.
Yeah, for sure. I've had some people, they'll stand like right by the cloud while it's like ticking down, like waiting to parry it, and it's like, you're being so foolish, I'm just gonna run up and grab you, they'll like completely ignore Absa, they'll like close their eyes, and they run like to the clouds to parry, and it's like, I'm gonna grab you, I'm gonna do forward throw, and you're going to the blast zone because that cloud pop hit you, So
Absa is a character much like Kragg, where like creativity is highly rewarded. But on Absa, that creativity becomes required very, very early.
Yes, yeah, it's kind of like, if you're not landing those weird mix-ups, if you're not getting those special like custom combos right, you're just not winning. Whereas someone like Kragg, right, it's like, haha, I hit you with forward air, you died. Like, there's not a lot of creativity in that one.
Like, Absa does have the ability to kill early and even off of like reversal attempts, but her aerial, like her kill move aerials, her earliest one doesn't come out until frame 8, which is still pretty early for a kill move, but that's something that she has to line up to. And somebody who's just keeping pressure on top of her. Her only like reversal options technically is like Nair is okay. It's not super great, but it's like an option you have. Like your Nair is not going to help you versus a Clairen, who is spacing out her aerials. Well, she's chasing you and spacing her aerials. There's very little you can do about that other than DI out. And then your other option is Cloud Hop, which more people are going to have to start doing. Cloud Hop is really good. A really good option for people who are trying to improve their Absa. Cloud Hop and literally just mash buffer down air. It connects on the first bufferable actionable frame, and it's just that huge hitbox, and it lasts for I believe it's 9 frames, right? Because it's the 1 frame of the sweet spot and then 8 frames of hit pause.
We can move on to the last character on the list. The hardest character, in your opinion, is...
Who could that possibly be?
I don't know. They might say down below the timeline. We might have each character marked.
It's Wrastor. It's 100% Wrastor. I've been saying this since the game came out. Wrastor is the hardest character in the game. And they just kept making him harder and harder. And eventually, finally, they decided to let up. every single adjustment they were doing to Wrastor was they
Mhm.
were like, this option is too strong, so we're not going to remove it, but we are going to make it harder to do. And they did
Yeah.
that like 5 patches in a row. To
Mhm.
where, and like let's be honest, Wrastor has always been really strong. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but and he's always been really hard. But the
Mhm.
issue with him was that um, he was very mentally taxing to play in bracket.
Yeah, and then
And
I think if you combine that with his weight, right? Because
Mhm.
that's also something I wasn't really able to touch on in my video earlier this week. Is like, if your character's light, you do have that like taxation of like, how do I like dodge all these kill confirms, right? Like this is going to start killing me, and then you have to play so much safer. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
you Wrastor's the only character in this game with a health bar.
Yeah.
When he is at when a Wrastor player is at 70%, when he's at 60%, he's already thinking like, okay, the next thing Loxodont hits me with is going to kill me.
Mhm.
If a Wrastor is at 100%, he's thinking the next thing that my opponent throws at me is going to kill me. Um,
Mhm.
uh, but like where Wrastor started off was that he had these incredible kill confirm combos, but they were super hard to do, and only a few players were doing them. And
Yeah.
because of these super hard confirm or kill confirm combos, they weren't able to buff this character in any meaningful way without, like, eventually, finally, in like the very recent patches, they did remove those.
Mhm.
It was all about his up special. He was forcing people off stage um, into positions where if they DI out, they die, and if they DI in, they are getting caught by the Scraw. And that was like his entire game plan. But he was killing people at like 40%. Um,
Mhm.
so eventually they were so they didn't want to move his identity away from up special. Um, but eventually they decided we should just make this character more fun to play in the air, and we're going to
Yeah.
start by moving his power off of up special. And I'm so glad they did. They made this character so much more fun.
He's a lot more
He
approachable now too. He is not quite as like reliant on those really hard techs,
Mhm.
which does make him a little bit easier, even though he is still obviously hard. So
They made him worse,
mm,
but at the same time that made him better.
he's more consistent now for sure,
Yeah, for sure.
which is really nice to have.
We call him consistent, but like his when Raster is hitting you with like a 5-6 hit combo, um, he's like not necessarily rehearsing that. It's that he knows how you DI, he knows how your character moves when they get hit,
Hmm.
um, and like he's not reacting to anything. Everything he's hitting you with is because he's committed so much muscle memory to how his moves work and how those moves affect the weight of your character, or like your character based on like their weight.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so this I think like skill checks is what makes talking about character difficulty
Mhm.
so hard, because like Raster is a character that can skill check you very easily.
Yes, yeah.
So his down special is like this incredible whiff punish move
Hmm.
where um if if I'm playing neutral but you're not playing neutral, and you're just throwing out you're a masher and you're throwing out some moves at me,
Hmm.
um I have practiced Raster so much that I can like if a Clairen is doing short hop forward airs, which is something that they feel like is super safe in every other matchup, I
Yeah.
can space and time perfectly like a down special to catch the Clairen who is landing with like she'll have like maybe 4 or 5 frames of vulnerability, but I'm
Yeah.
catching you. That's one of those skill checks that you're breaking through, and suddenly Raster's approach is much more difficult. Um, he has other good approach options like wave dash in, uh, jab, jab frame traps are really good on him.
Yeah, I kind of found
His
that
jab
out
is really
like
active.
about like 10 hours into him. I was like, "Whoa, this chap's crazy."
Oh yeah,
Like
his jab
I
is
did
super
not
good.
realize how good it was. And then someone was like, "You don't jab a lot as Wrastor. Like you should try that more." And I was like, "Whoa!" Like he all makes sense now, you know?
Uh-huh. His dash attack is really good.
Mhm.
I know you were talking about that one comment someone said where it's like
Yeah.
all you do as Raster is you dash attack, you grab, back throw,
Mhm.
confirm. into forward strong. These are all skill checks. Um, if if a Wrastor is grabbing you, it's because you're predictable. If he's getting kill confirms, like if he's throwing you backwards and then confirming with forward strong, it's because he had his slipstream out. And like, to be fair, like a deactivated slipstream should be as threatening to you as an activated slipstream, but not quite in the same way.
Yeah,
his grabs are just as threatening whether or not the slipstream is active. If it's out, it has to be out, but it's probably going to be out. But his slipstream is just as threatening if you are grabbed. But his approach against somebody who is like respecting the Wrastor is actually abysmal.
It's so difficult because I have Wrastor, like I have a good amount of hours on him. I think he's my second most played character. And it feels like if you have to approach someone like Loxodont or like Clairen, right, and they're like, I'm not moving towards you, like you have to come to me. And then if you don't have Slipstream, Wrastor suddenly so slow, like he feels like so rough to use.
You get a Falco laser every 10 seconds, and every time you throw the Wrastor Slipstream, you either only have 2 seconds or 4 seconds to make a move, and then you have 6 seconds where you cannot do anything, possibly even 8 seconds where you can't do anything. And like, this is part of the flow of playing against a Wrastor. I think like this Slipstream is the best, like the healthiest Slipstream we've ever had in the game.
I agree.
This Slipstream that requires, the opponent hits Wrastor and it's turned off. Wrastor hits the opponent and it's turned on. It's really important to figuring out, gathering information first off is really important. What does the Wrastor do when he throws out Slipstream? What does the opponent do when I throw Slipstream at him? If a very common, like a Wrastor who's very dependent on Slipstream to getting in, which most Wrastors are, they're thinking, okay, I have to make a move within 2 to 4 seconds, depending on, if I hit the opponent with my Slipstream. Ranno, who's gathering information as one is supposed to do, is realizing this Wrastor only goes in when he has Slipstream. So I'm literally going to count to 4, and on the 4th second is when I'm going to whiff punish, because he's going to try to do something, because if he doesn't do it now, he's not going to have his Slipstream up.
And then that's kind of the struggle of playing Wrastor, though, like getting back to like how difficult he is, where it's like you have to find a way to mix that up to where you're not so predictable, but that you're also getting the benefit of. You have to
be so mentally active all the time as Wrastor. You have to always be thinking. You have to always be gathering information and reacting, or using that information against your opponent. You have to do your best to not be predictable. That's the thing. People will say, oh, Wrastor's so good, he only has to use these 3 options. But then on the same side, Wrastor players will be like, Wrastor is so bad, he only has these 3 options.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, is it's like, you get like a frame, right, where it's like, you get to play right now, and if Wrastor does not take advantage of that right now, suddenly he's in disadvantage for like 6 to 8 seconds,
But then that's what this adjustment was all about. Is that they made him, they made this flow to the game state intentional. So if I realize that my opponent becomes very aggressive when they know that it's going to be hard for me to get my Slipstream out, I can take advantage of that. If my opponent sees purple Slipstream and goes, this Wrastor is a sitting duck, I'm going to go in, I can now whiff punish them. If the opponent is thinking, this Wrastor has a Slipstream up, he's going to lose it in 4 seconds, he's going to go in right now, they can use that to their advantage. And I think that's way more interesting than what we used to have. But then Wrastor, we're in this place where, like, he does have 3 really good options. He has the run-up grab, he has the dash attack. What's the other one that everyone says that he relies on? Down special, obviously. Down special. They're really good options. But then as soon as you learn to play around them, if those are the only 3 options you're using, what do you do?
It doesn't make up a full kit. Yeah, it's like you have 3, 4 like really strong buttons to press, but they all have similar counterplay, so as soon as you just start to apply that, suddenly Wrastor has to get like a lot more creative,
That's
and I think that's the struggle.
Like a Wrastor, as soon as they start hitting those opponents that are reacting to their skill checks properly, you have to use his entire kit, and that's what makes him so hard. You have to use everything he has. And like Absa comes really close, where you kind of have to use everything she has. Fleet, you basically use everything she has. You're probably not using down special that much, but if you are a fleet that uses down special effectively, then like you're a really good fleet. And that's kind of how like my ranking works, is like the characters that don't have to use most of their kit versus the characters that have to use all of their kit. Clairen, I would put her, if this was like purely on the high end side, I would put her at least above Zetterburn. Just because as soon as Clairen has her skill check, like as soon as she's in the same situation where as soon as she's fighting somebody that knows how to use her skill checks, she falls apart.
On that topic, like who would you say has like the lowest like skill floor in the game? Would you still consider it to be like Loxodont, I imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then who has the highest or who has the lowest skill ceiling, do you think?
That's a good question.
Because
let me look at the number.
I feel like everyone has like a very like it's Rivals of Ether, right? Like
so who maxes out?
But who like
who
maxed out? Yeah, pretty early.
This is such a hard choice.
Because I actually have like a choice that I don't think a lot of people would think, but I kind of want to hear what you think first.
I think the character that maxes out first is Etalus.
That was my answer too, actually. Okay, so we're on the same page. I feel like it's like Etalus has like a pretty weird, awkward skill floor, right, where you have to learn a lot of new tech. But since they removed things like Flat Stanley, right, like your actionable out of his up B like a little bit differently now. You kind of have like a different like bag of tricks that you're carrying around, and once you get those down, none of them are particularly hard. But it's like you do have to get them down. So I feel like Etalus is there. I think that Loxodont and Kragg are also kind of in the same spot, but Kragg has like weird stuff with like his neutral air, where it's like what hitbox am I gonna get? Will like change his combo route, things like that. So I feel like Kragg is like a bit harder. Also, his like how you recover with him is like a bit more expressive than Etalus, right? With Etalus is kind of like you're kind of fucked off stage. Sorry, Etalus. Sorry, YouTube, if I'm not supposed to cuss. I don't know how it works. But with Kragg, it's like you have a little bit more expression in some areas, in my opinion, at least.
If I had to create a tier list of literally just skill floors, I would have to really, really think on that, and I don't think we've got enough time for that. I would actually put Kragg a lot higher, just because I feel like maybe if you could play Kragg at 90% of his full potential, and that's still really, really good, and you're using most of his kit, but then it's people like ZB who are squeezing out that last 5-10% that it really, really matters at that high level.
Where it's like, oh, he did hitfall on the second hit of Nair, which allowed him to get up tilt back air into reversal forward air, you know? Like stuff like that, where it's like really complex stuff that you wouldn't know if you were just watching the character without that like knowledge of like, that's the hit stun of like Nair 2, you know? So yeah, Kragg's definitely a weird one. For skill ceiling though, who do you think has like the highest like skill ceiling out of the cast? Probably Wrastor? I don't think it's Wrastor, but
yeah, when it comes to skill ceiling, it's really, really hard to say. Because
it's a tricky one. Where's people's potential at? You know?
Yeah, because we can see a character with a low skill ceiling. We've seen them sort of max out. It's like once a character is so far developed, like where do they go from there? We've seen like
are really popular, like Zetterburn, where it's
But even then, Zetterburn is one of those characters that does have such a high skill ceiling because he does have more room to develop. Like the best Zetterburn still have lots of room to improve, and I think that's a really cool aspect of his design.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I get so exhausted with the whole we have to keep nerfing Zetterburn conversation, because like this is a character that people are they keep developing, and you're getting frustrated by that.
I think that it's very interesting to see where it's like a character that's very popular like Zetterburn, like how fast he's developed in this like initial year, and then a character that might not be as popular, let's say like Wrastor or Orcane, right? Like both of them have like notably less reps. They have good reps, right? Like people like Rimrin, you have Marlin actually on both of those characters, you know? Stuff like that. You have people like Dakpo on Wrastor. stuff like that, right? You do have like these high level reps, but their metas aren't developing at the same rate, just because there's a few less of them than there is for a character like Zetterburn. So
Wrastor's skill ceiling also isn't necessarily just his mechanical ability, but also just like how many. I think what is really important to Wrastor's skill ceiling is how many steps ahead this guy is thinking in neutral too.
yeah,
Which
because
feels
he
so
kind of
weird,
has
but
to
like,
do like a bit of mental math, you know?
mhm. But like he has to be using information all the time.
Hmm.
Because that's the only way he's really getting in on somebody who's not just going to let him down special, or who's going to let him just get like a slipstream run and grab. Um, every little bit of movement from this character matters to such an infinitely small degree. Um, there's 1,000 different ways that I can play Wrastor just on his movement alone, and that matters. I feel like that matters so much more than any other character, is literally just
Yeah,
moving with
yeah.
this bird.
Where it's like, how
Um,
many jumps am I going to use so I know like where my next jump will take me, or like when do I actually like approach? Things like that are really important.
because if you flub your movement at all, you just get hit by
Hmm.
uh, the Loxodont forward strong, and
Yeah,
you're dead. And the
you blow
Loxodont
up,
taunt
you're out of here.
the Loxodont taunt because they think they're hot shit.
Yeah.
But,
um,
Absa's skill ceiling is super super high.
yeah, she's kind of new, so I don't really want to take too many guesses about her, but I do think she's one of the ones that's up there.
Mhm.
If I had to imagine.
Ranno's skill ceiling is super super high.
Hmm.
Um, it's tongue slinging. He has multiple ways to use tongue sling. He has multiple ways to use ledge cancel. His up special, followed by what do we call the second part of up special where he goes back down?
The dive kick? I don't know if it's
Is
called
that
dive kick, but it's something like that.
normally you can just say like up special too, but he has two different routes he can take it, so you can't really. But yeah, he has the dive kick where he can ledge cancel that, and there's so much he can do off of that. And then like needle boosting too. Like there's so much to
Needle
this
boosting's
character.
crazy. Like I'll see people that be like, needle
Mhm.
boosting is so good, and they'll post a clip, and I'm like squinting. I'm like an old lady at the grocery store, like reading the packaging. I'm like, where's the needle boost? Like I'm not seeing this. And then on my like third watch, I'll be like, oh, it's on that one frame, you know. So it's
Yeah,
very
like
sick to see.
Ranno, and then needle boosting is one of those you can't buffer it, so
Mhm.
it has a lot of room for literally just like improving that mechanically. There's very little there's very little in a character's kit that can be improved upon mechanically, usually due to the buffer. But like those things do exist in the game, where you can't just rely on the buffer. And
Yeah,
like needle boosting is one of those things. And like the sooner you get the needle cancel out, the better your boost is. Um, so those things really matter. Ranno, like I have him low on my difficulty tier list because he doesn't need that stuff to do well, but then at the very top level he does, and I feel like our best Rannos still aren't quite there.
yeah.
Like they are a little bit, um, but like the Zetterburns are just so much more developed right now.
Hmm.
Uh,
But thanks so much for coming on today, Soul Birdguy. Can you let the viewers know what's next on your channel, like where they can find you, what they should be looking out for?
okay, so you can follow me on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Soul Birdguy. My Twitch channel is Rinniwin. It'll be spelled on the stream, I assume. That's where I do general gaming, but also like I stream my rivals there too instead of having that on different channels.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm going to be focusing more on my Twitch channel lately. We're going to be starting that off by doing like our. We have a big content creator crew battle coming up between me and
Yeah.
Noid on Last Stock. So that's going to be really fun. Our viewers are going to be battling on our behalf in a major. I think we're doing what 6v6 crew battle
Yes, it'll probably be
and
us plus 5 viewers.
with
So,
a very fun twist to make sure it doesn't snowball in one way or the other.
yeah, there's going to be a few little challenges along the way. So, the date's going to be on the screen right now, so if you're interested in playing, feel free to join me or Soulbird Guy's Discord. I'm going to have them both linked down below if you guys want to go and check those out. Anybody can play, it doesn't matter your skill level. As we did mention, there are some challenges, so if you're really good, you might have to do a few extra steps, but they're fun steps.
Please
So,
look forward to that.
yeah, it's probably going to be... Oh, well, I already said, actually, the date will be on the screen, so I don't have to say when it'll probably be. Thanks so much again for coming into the channel. All
Thanks for
Birdguy
having
stuff,
me.
yeah, for sure. All of Birdguy's stuff will be linked down below, so go check him out, show him some love, and we'll see you guys next week, where a quick sneak peek next week on the channel is actually going to be Wrastor week. We talked about him a good amount today. Surprise! So we'll be having a Wrastor tier list at the start of the week, and then a few top-level Wrastors coming onto the podcast next week to chat about the character and what they like and don't like about his rework, his tricky matchups, and different ways to improve with him. So I'll see you guys all there. Thanks for watching, and have a good one. Bye for now!